Well, my first question will be for you, Mr. Spike Lee. I mean, thank you, first of all, for bringing all of you this very powerful film to Cannes. I mean, what struck us, I believe, last night when we discovered your film is that how surreal, I mean, Ron Starrow's experience was in some ways and how strongly relevant it is today. Did you feel all a sort of extra urgency on set after the Charlottesville tragedy to tell this story now?
Well, the tragedy happened after we finished. So that was something. I was in Martha's Vineyard, and I was stuck. That's an island off the coast of Massachusetts. Not a fan of the Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots, or any team from Boston. I love Martha's Vineyard. Anyway, I was stuck to CNN, and I saw what happened. And right away, I knew that this had to be, you might use the word coda for the film. But I had to do something first. So I was given Susan Bro's phone number. She is the mother of Heather Heyer, who got murdered when that car came crashing down the street. And I was not going to put that murder scene in the film without her blessing. And Mrs. Bro says, Spike, I give you permission to put that in. So once I got the permission, I said, fuck everybody else. That motherfucking scene is staying in the motherfucking movie. Because that was a murder. And we have a guy in the White House, I'm not gonna say his fucking name. It was a defining moment. It was not just for Americans, for the world. And that motherfucker was given a chance to say, we're about love and not hate. And that motherfucker did not denounce the motherfucking Klan, the alt-right, and those Nazi motherfuckers. It was a defining moment. And he could have said to the world, not the United States, that we were better than that. The so-called motherfucking cradle democracy, that's some bullshit. United States of America was built upon the genocide of Native people and slavery. That is the fabric of the United States of America. As my Brooklyn brother Jay-Z would say, facts. That scene had to go in. We look to our leaders to give us direction, to make moral decisions. And I like to say, this is not just something that pertains to the United States of America. This bullshit is going all over the world. This right-wing bullshit is not just America, it's all over the world. And we have to wake up. And we can't be silent. It's not a black, white, brown, or it's everybody. We all live on this planet. And this guy in the White House has a nuclear code. I go to bed every night thinking about it. He has the ditch. I seen the football, that attaché case. My wife and I gave a benefit for President Obama, his second term. And I saw the attaché case in the car. That is not science fiction. That shit is real. And this motherfucker has a nuclear code. And you got the guy in Korea and this other guy in Russia. What the fuck's going on? So this film, to me, is a wake-up call. Because we've gone for the okey doke, walking around in the daze, and stuff is happening, and it's topsy-turvy, and fake has been trumpeted as a truth. That's what this film's about. And I know in my heart, I don't care what the critics say or anybody else, we are on the right side of history with this film. I don't need to say anything else after this. And please excuse me for some profane words, but the shit that's going on, it makes you want to curse. Thank you.
Question here.
Hi, Gwilym Mumford from The Guardian. Question for Spike. How much of this film is a message directly to Trump, or is it talking past him?
Well, I like to say my co-writer, Kevin Wilmot, should be here, but I don't know if we can get the call or what. So when Jordan, this is really like the origin of it, please. Jordan Peele called me out of the blue, and he pitched me the story of the real-life Ron Stallworth. And while I was talking, I was thinking, this sounds like that David Chappelle skit. And after he finished, I said, is this true? And he said, yes. So when Kevin and I came aboard, our number one concern that we knew what our job was. Our job was to take this story that takes place in the early, I don't know why people write 1979. We aren't so specific about the year. It's the early 70s. So our job as filmmakers, as storytellers, was to connect this period piece to present day. What's happening now did not just pop up out of thin air. We had to connect what happened in the early 70s during the Vietnam War. Again, the United States was wrong. We should never have been in Vietnam. The last war we were in was World War II. After that, everything's been a bad choice. We had to end the film in present day. But I do not have the crystal ball, even though my friends call me Negro Damas. I was in Martha's Vineyard when Charlottesville happened. That ending was not written. But Spike Lee joined us. You gotta flow. You gotta flow. Can't be rigid. You gotta be with it. You gotta be hip. You gotta be on it. There's no way in the world why I could not, once I got the blessing from Mrs. Bro, make that the end of the film. And with the help of Focus, thank you guys, we're gonna release this film on the 1-year anniversary of Charlottesville. And it's an ugly, ugly, ugly blemish on the United States of America. I mean, that, after you see the demonstrations, you know, it was like a mini Civil War battle without the guns. It was just, fists and sticks and bats. I was looking, where the fuck are the police? It's like a battle royale. And again, I know I may sound redundant, but during the editing, you only saw one, my great editor, Barry Brown, who's been with me since school days, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X. I mean, Barry is a great, great editor. And also, you have to give shout out to Judy Ailey. She had to find the footage. So we had to put together what you saw. There were many, many different angles. So we put ads in papers and Facebook. You know, people sent us stuff. They had filmed on their phones. So using the footage we had, we want to our best ability, show a needless, Heather should be alive now. It's a murderous act. And when we look to our leaders for moral courage, and when they make the wrong choice and give the thumbs up to the hate groups, they come out of the woodworks.
Congratulations, wonderful acting. For several reasons, we could call Ron a hero. But what kind of hero he is? How could you define him as a hero? And Spike, I'm sorry to ask you this. Could you please tell a few words about your process of work with your cinematographer? How did you build up the cinematography of the film?
The cinematographer is a young photographer named Chase Irwin. If you've seen Lemonade, Beyonce's Lemonade, he photographed that. And I was looking for my go-to cinematographer, Matty LaBoutique, wasn't available. Ellen Curious wasn't available, so I had to look for a DP, and Chase is amazing. And you know, this was shot on film. It was not digital. And we really wanted to have the look of 70s films. You see a lot of split screens. That's from the 70s. And there's something that it was, but I had not shot film in so many years, and so I forgot. I mean, it's a little nuisance we gotta run out when the mag runs out and wait for the mags to be changed, but as long as I can, I'm gonna go back to shooting film. I do believe in hope. And I think that many of my films, I think Do the Right Thing is a hopeful film. I believe in hope, but I'm not blind or deaf. So I think that you could be hopeful, but still be aware of what is happening. And this film is not just going to be seen in the United States of America. This film will be seen around the world. And I said earlier, this is a global problem. There's right-wing stuff that's happening all over the world. So I do hope that people from other countries will see this is happening where I live. So all I hope to do is that this film shakes people from their slumber. I'm going to keep referring to Do the Right Thing because it's a very important film. I mean, one of the criticisms of the film was that I not provide a solution to racism. That was not, first of all, I didn't have the answer. Still don't have the answer, and that was not the purpose of the film. The purpose was to spark discussion, and I think that applies to this film. Where too many people are just walking around in a daze. I mean, opiates. I mean, this is a worldwide problem when people are just fucked up. You know, they're like zonked out. People are having a hard time to cope around the world. And we have to be vocal. We could not, I don't think we could be complacent and just let stuff slide by that in our heart we know is wrong. we know the difference between right and wrong. And when you see wrong staring you dead in the face, and you're like, mum's the word, then you're helping the other people, in my opinion.
Question here.
Hi, Spike. I'm Chaz Ebert.
I know who you are.
Okay.
Oh, I just like to say, your husband at 1989, Do the Right Thing. Your husband was a champion for the film. One of the great critics, Roger Ebert. When everybody was telling people that this film was gonna cause riots all across America and black people gonna run amok and this and that, your husband, Roger Ebert, said, this is not what this film's about. So I just wanted to give Roger a shout out.
Thank you. I wish he could have seen this film. You're a consummate filmmaker, and it's going to get a lot of attention. I do have to ask a question. You and Quentin Tarantino have had some back and forths about who has the right to use the N-word in movies and how many times you can use it. And I want to know about your process. As I was watching this film, I admire it, but I have to say that there are parts of it that just, it viscerally, I know it's an anti-racism movie, but what is your process for thinking how much of the words and the negative things you can say to wake people up from a slumber to make the movie effective? Do you know the question I'm asking?
I like to say, this has nothing to do with Quentin Tarantino. You're bringing up ancient history, which that's not important. This world is crazy. Who gives a fuck about what Quentin and I had? Let me just finish. Let me finish though. That's inconsequential. That amounts to a hill of beans of what was happening in this world today. So let me answer your question. Words can be hateful. I was elaborating how the Klan talks about. Here's another thing. Anybody just thinks that the Klan just hates black people and not Jews, you need to wake the fuck up. Jews are number 2 on the list. Number 2. The way we had those people speaking is the way they speak. They don't speak lovingly of Jews. They don't speak black people in lovely terms. Those words are harmful. And it was my decision to, whoever sees this film, to hear those words. Even a better answer, I wanted the hate to be verbalized. Verbalized. Thank you, Jeff.
To Spike, how much do you think this movie, the timing of it, could impact midterm elections in the U.S. later this year? Thank you.
I'm going to answer the question this way. During the election, the guy in the office now said he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and people would still vote for him. I thought this guy's crazy. I never heard of someone running for the president, the office of President of the United States. If anybody's heard of that happened before, please educate me. But when did someone ever running for the President of the United States say they could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot somebody, and people will still vote for him? Well, you know what? That's one of the few things he was right about. So I don't know what's going to happen as far as the midterm elections.
Hi Spike. Sorry if I speak French, it's better for me. Bonjour, je suis de Vox Africa, une chaîne panafricaine.
I come from Africa, and on behalf of all my colleagues who weren't here, you said that your film held out hope to people around the world. In Africa in particular, problems of racism are very patent, even between ethnic groups. What message could you address us? Because you are a very influential person, and we admire you in Africa.
Well, I'm not in a position to tell my brothers and sisters in the motherland what to do. Even though countries received their liberation, the yokels of colonialism are still there. So everybody has their own problems, and you gotta try to work collectively to try to work this thing out, because there's great injustice going all around the world. So I think I just want to say this one last time. Please do not leave here thinking that what you see in the film is just about the United States of America. This is a global problem. So do me that favor. Think of this film in global terms, not just this peculiar thing that happens in the States. So often, I've been traveling around the world a lot, and it amazes me what, people, a lot of countries I've been to, they want to talk about what's happening in the States. In their own countries, how are you treating the Muslims? How are you treating immigrants? How are you treating, people who immigrated from Africa? So you got your own shit too. It's not just America. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here, and thank you for bringing such a film.